Hello, hello, and welcome to DecentraWise Podcast. My name is Pedro.
And I'm Miguel, and you just joined us in our mission to decentralize the world wisely.
And that's exactly because of decentralizing wisely that we have the topic of today, which is smart contracts. Um, they are smart, but it doesn't mean that they are wise. So, this is a very important episode. And so grab a drink. Mine is coffee, as always.
Yeah,
And
I'm sticking to water.
sit back and relax because we will get nerdy as usual. So, um, and now that you are with us, entering the episode of smart contracts, why not being smart and pressing that button there, somewhere, that with a thumbs up, and subscribing to our channel because it's the best channel that you can subscribe to.
Yeah, if you have some time to spare with us and you are enjoying the content, don't forget to subscribe and like.
And if you don't enjoy the content, subscribe
And like.
also and like.
Yeah,
That's the way to go.
yeah, it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
You just trick YouTube. That's it.
Yeah.
Why not? It helps us. And you are a nice guy. Come on, I know you are. So um, today we are talking about smart contracts, and I really think there's a lot to discuss today. So we need to be pragmatic about this.
Yeah.
So
They are contracts and they are smart. See you next week.
okay, okay, that was
Now, there's
fast.
a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. And we have a lot of content here today.
So starting with the word itself, smart contracts. Um, the idea of it was mind blowing to me when I understood what this was about. Back in 2014, 2015, around that time, this name was coined, and I really think that it was a very interesting uh, thing for our industry because this is a revolution in the way that we apply uh, contracts in real life, right? The idea of a contract is to establish the rules that the parties need to agree on, right? And the enforcement of those rules usually is taken care elsewhere, either in courts or by the police or by the government or by someone, some third party, right? And although you have a signed document that says, okay, your responsibility is this one, and your um, uh, counterparty uh, will be responsible for the other part, and you both agree with something, the enforcement wasn't there. And of course, if we live in a civilized country, this is not a very big issue. But if we live in a third world country or in a developed country or in banana republic as Portugal, um, or any banana republic country, in Europe. It's not just Portugal. Um, the enforcement is the problem, right? So most of the times you have an agreement, and that agreement means nothing, right?
Yeah,
And
well, let me stop you there for a second,
yeah,
because it's not only that people don't respect the contracts that they sign. It's that sometimes there's also some misinterpretation of the contract. So on the same contracts, I can read the same text that you and interpret it
yeah,
in different ways. So that's how most of the complications just start there. So, and after that, it also comes that I can be acting in not such in good faith, and I want to just don't comply to the contract that I signed.
yeah.
So
And sometimes when you sign the contract, you want to comply, but then something happens in the middle
yeah,
of
and
the time span,
context
and
change. Yeah,
yeah, and you just can't comply,
yeah, you
or
cannot. Yeah,
there's a lot
there
of
are a lot of stuff that can
yeah,
happen
of course.
in the time span of the agreement.
So the problem that smart contracts solve is exactly that. It's the trust problem, right? Uh, we learned in other episodes, and we talked about it extensively in this channel. One big thing that Bitcoin and blockchain technology solves is the trust problem, right? It's the us being able to transfer value without having to trust anyone in the middle. So when I send money to you in Bitcoin network, I am pretty sure that the money was taken out from my account, and pretty sure that it entered your account if I put the correct address. So there's no one to trust, and there's no way it cannot happen. It will happen because I signed it, and that's it, right? So this is beautiful because it removes all the trust in the process, and smart contracts have that power too. So
You cannot say that that removes the trust. You have to say that removes the requirement of trust, because
yeah,
that's what it solves. It's the requirement that you need to have when I'm signing a written contract with you, is that eventually I will have to trust that you are acting in good faith, and that you are going to comply to the contract. I need to trust that.
yeah,
It's a requirement for this agreement to proceed. So what that removes is not the trust, because
when I say when
either
I say
if I
removes
trust or not,
trust,
yeah, it
is
removes the
removes the need
requirement.
for,
Yeah, the
yeah.
requirement for trust. Yeah,
So and smart contracts are supposed to do that exactly for contracts. So not just a simple transfer of value, which we can do in Bitcoin or any other network, Ethereum as well, or something. But a smart contract is much more than that. It's the contract itself plus the enforcement of the rules that we agree on, plus for all eternity. So that's huge, right? And when I learned that, I was uh, it was a one of the biggest haha moments that I had in the several years of working in this industry, because yeah, it just changes everything, right?
yeah, indeed. And the thing is, it's not like you have to sign the same agreement. When you are signing, you are complying to the contract as it is in that moment. So some contracts just change on time because they are either upgraded or other new functionalities, And what you are doing is you are signing the contract in that moment, but that should be valid for the extent of the agreement that you are signing on.
That's one other topic, which
We
is
need to talk about this
upgradable.
because this is not true, what I said.
Upgradable contracts is something that I don't really like. And I know that it's not a popular thing to say. Everyone wants to do proxies and separate the interface from the implementation and do all that fancy things. And that is just nerdiness and people wanting to be uh, extra safe so that they don't do the proper testing. Uh, and it's a subversion of the entire thing,
Okay, but
right?
let me stop you there. Let me stop you there.
Yeah.
We can dig into that later in the episode.
And we have to.
Yeah, we have to. This is really important. What I wanted to talk right now is the how a smart contract works.
Mhm. How does it work?
How does it work? We have a
Mhm.
blockchain. We have what you are calling that it is a smart contract. Is something that it's smart. It's a contract. How in the hell does that work?
It's code that executes on the blockchain, and it's immutable in nature. So to make it mutable, you need to create some other fancy stuff around it. So it's not the natural way. The natural way is you create the code that translates the things that you think the contract should do and the users of your contract should comply to. You write it in a language, that language is compiled, it's stored on the blockchain, and anyone that wants to use that contract will interact with it and respect the rules that it
Okay,
describes.
let me rephrase that a little bit.
Mhm.
How this works is something like the same thing that you have here on Web2 functionality. So you have some server with some functionality. It has some functions there, which you call, and it's kind of the same thing. The smart contract is a set of functions that you can call, but they will perform on a blockchain, and it
Mhm.
has all those qualities that we know, that it's immutable. You can uh, sign the transactions because it knows it comes from you, and all that stuff that we talked about being on the blockchain. So that's kind of the thing. It's just a piece of code. It has functions. You pass the parameters to it. You call the functions with the parameters, and it executes the code for you. The different thing is you know what you're applying to, because either you can know the code, and you know that it should be immutable, for apart from the reasons that we were talking like 5 minutes ago, that you can upgrade the contract, which makes it mutable. But that's the thing here. So this is how a smart contract works. It's running on a blockchain, either
On a decentralized network, yeah. So you
which
don't
is
have to rely
which
that the server is up because
and
it will
not
be.
just up, because if I want to change one server, it's pretty easy to do. But if you want to change thousands of servers around the world, it's virtually impossible to do that.
Yeah.
So and that's the security and safety of the blockchain and smart contracts.
Yeah.
It's not just one computer that you need to again to trust that it's going to do the right thing. you know that it's going to do the right thing, because there are thousands and thousands of computers doing exactly the same thing, and they will have to reach to the same conclusion.
And if they
So
don't, they fail.
yeah,
The
the
whole
network
transaction
just
will fail.
fails. Yeah.
The whole transaction will fail, and you will be sure that it wasn't executed anywhere because it was just not
Yeah.
valid, right?
Yeah. So now these smart contracts are coded in some programming languages, like you have for server development languages. You have from C++, C to Python to JavaScript to whatever, and you are just creating a server. Here is not exactly the same thing, because you are not programming the server. You are programming the smart contracts inside the server. You are programming the functionality inside the server, which is the blockchain. And there are some specific languages that are not at all common in the programming world that came up for the smart contracts. Do you want to go
Yeah. The most
for some of
common,
those?
the most common, and probably most people that listen to this, they will be probably either learning or experts in Solidity. So it's the language of the most important language for smart contract development by far. Uh, any EVM compatible chain uses Solidity, and Solidity compiles to bytecode, which is interpreted by the virtual machine. So bytecode can be generated by Solidity or can be generated by any other language. So other languages started to appear, like Viper, which is like Python styled uh, smart contract language, very similar to Python in its structure, and it also reduces a little bit of the um, strange things in Solidity. Um, it's a completely different language that creates also bytecode that is interpreted by the same virtual machine. You can also use assembly directly. You don't have to use any high-level programming language. So um, the assembly language that is more common is called YUL, and you can write a very simple, functional way of assembly in that
No,
language.
that is not very
And
common. But what I've seen is that people use assembly to make some very specific optimizations
mhm.
inside the code. So you can actually use big
But you can
programming
write,
in Solidity and write a piece of code that it's in assembly.
yeah, you just put assembly brackets and do YUL in between the brackets. But you can
And
do
pray a
the
lot.
entire thing. You can do the entire thing in YUL, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, uh, for people that don't know how things are compiled, um, a smart contract is just YUL code in bytecode, translated to bytecode. And it has an entry point, and that entry point has a case, and that case tests the function the function ashes to see where to go, and it jumps to the correct function. It's just a pretty straightforward code that has selectors to select the function where to go, call data to send the arguments, and so on. So Solidity is just a translator from a language that seems to have contracts and functions inside contracts to a language or a byte code that represents the code itself to call the functions based on the selectors.
Yeah.
So it's a very basic thing, right? Um, and the problem with Solidity is that we are trying to implement more and more functionality in the high level language, and then problems start to appear and exploits start to being exploited because we are humans and we make mistakes, and that's it. So those are the languages that all EVM usually support and have, and other chains use other languages. Like, for instance, we worked back in the day uh, quite quite some time in other chains like EOS or chains like that have C++ smart contracts. They are not um, very common today, but that exists as well. Other chains have other languages like Clarity, which is a specific language for smart contracts. It's very, very fault proof language. Um, and other chains use Rust for smart contracts, or
Yeah,
so
there's also Go. I think it's the
yeah.
most used right now. It's Rust.
Go is more like the language for the platforms themselves,
Mhm.
not for smart contracts. And yes, Cosmos is developed in Go and C++, basically,
And
right?
Rust, they are
And
developing
and Rust,
smart
yeah,
contracts in Rust.
yeah. So there's a lot of options here to implement smart contracts. The more common is by far Solidity, which
Yeah, that is mostly because most blockchains are EVM compliant.
yeah,
So it's the the default right now in smart contract development.
yeah. And so,
Yeah,
with
this
that
kind of lead us
said,
to yeah, this kind of
yeah,
lead us to how are these smart contracts applied and where and the use cases for this. So I mean the everybody knows that the most where smart contracts are mostly applied is in finance.
mhm,
So, but there are other use cases for this, like healthcare, supply chain, commercial utilities. So there are a lot of use cases for this, and I would like to explore this a little bit. So finance is like self-explaining. Everything
yeah,
is being done right now in smart contracts. It's in finance. I think it's the first thing that needs to be developed, and it will be the basis for the rest of it, and also the test case. Uh, so, what other emergent areas do you see coming up right now?
man. I really think that smart contracts will lead the world. Basically, I really think that anything that requires um, a level of trust, uh, or anything that we want to remove the trust needed for that to happen, will imply smart contracts. So, um, finance is just the obvious one right now, and but there are others, like identity is one big thing right now as well. It's still not solved. Attestations related to identity is also one big thing already being explored today. like having a way for you to have your, for instance, your degree on chain, your medical data on chain in a secure way, that you only share it when you want to share it. It will be a very important thing, uh, to be able to prove that you have certain conditions without having to show which uh, conditions you really have, is a very big thing with using zero knowledge proofs and stuff like that. So it's really, really a hot topic today. And that goes for everything, for medical information, for insurance information, for um, anything, bank information, anything that requires a level of secrecy, or that might be very difficult for people to share with the world, uh, is a very important topic for this zero knowledge proof um, ideas. And that is just scratching the surface, the surface of
Yeah, I mean,
identity, right?
yeah.
And
For the identity, it's quite dubious to me, because there are good things about it, there are bad things about it, and but yeah, we need to make an entire episode talking
yeah,
about the bad stuff about smart contracts, because
not
there are quite a lot.
not the just the bad, because I really think that we need to develop, we need to talk one entire episode about identity, just because
Yeah,
there are
yeah,
two
well,
sides of
yeah,
the same coin, which is identity is very important, but it's very important as well to remain uh,
yeah.
anonymous,
Anonymity is very important
right?
also.
By developing identity on chain, we are risking the possibility of being anonymous, and if we do that, we will be the ones to lose, right? And that's not a very good thing, because right now our identity depends on the card that we have on our pocket, and if we scrap it, uh, we can just be ourselves. We don't need that card unless we need to identify us to some system, right? Uh, we can remain anonymous in most of the things we do. Just the legal things, we need to use that card. And by using blockchain and automation for that, and all the new technology, we need to be mindful that anonymity is very important.
Yeah,
And we shouldn't do a one size fit all thing and just expect that, okay, everyone using this system will be a good guy, because that's very naive, right? All the good technologies can be used for good and bad,
yeah,
and they will.
yeah, for
So
sure.
we need to be very aware of that, and we need to create systems that solve problems, and not systems that solve all problems in the same way, right? Because we will be creating a worse world instead of a better one. Because if people can use identity in a bad way, they will. And if it's the only way, everyone will be prisoner of their own identity, which is not uh, a good
Yeah, I mean,
end for this.
just imagining a world where you can only do stuff if you present your identity. It's really, really bad, and very, really bad things may come from that. Like, for instance, uh, if you are only allowed to, or you are stopped. Let's imagine this conspiracy from the government and stuff like that, and the government just wants to annihilate you for some reason, and you won't be able to go to any store because you will be identified immediately, and you cannot buy anything because you will be immediately identified, and that identity will be used for everything. It will be used for your payments, for
It doesn't need to be a conspiracy theory. Just imagine a world where, for instance, I am diagnosed diabetes, and next day I go to the coffee shop and I want to eat a cake, and the system doesn't allow me because I have diabetes. I don't want to live in that world. I want to
yeah,
be responsible for my own
yeah. Well,
decisions. And
making other people limiting your liberty is never a good
yeah,
thing, and that
yeah,
allows and this kind of stuff allows for that, and that's one
that's the
of the big
problem.
risks.
And that's the For instance, I am a guy that made some mistake, right? And I have my accounts, and I made something wrong, and I didn't have an intention to do that. I just made mistakes. I am a human being, and
Yeah,
humans
you can
make
have the
shit.
intention. You have the right
No,
to do
but
bad stuff and redeem
just
yourself.
imagine this, and next day I go to eat at the restaurant, and my cards don't work because that happened already. Just uh, check the news of Canada
Yeah,
strikes
right.
of the truckers, and
Yeah,
they had
exactly.
their accounts all blocked.
Yeah.
This is a
And this is a
very
system that allows for that.
risky thing.
Keep that in mind.
They were showing their rights to protest, and they got their accounts canceled or frozen
Yes.
just because technology was able to recognize their faces and understand who they were, and block their accounts. This
Yeah.
is a very good example of misuse of technology to remove privacy where it's needed. And with the spread of blockchain technology and smart contracts and all that, as developers, it's on us, guys. We need to be aware of this and don't comply with this. Don't allow this to happen, because the way things are headed, um,
It's not us. It's not the people
it
that
is.
are doing
It is
this.
us. Uh,
It is a very small subset of people, and there's no way around it. The only way around it is to create a system that makes this impossible.
yeah,
And I mean, we were talking a
we
couple of
need
weeks ago
we need to do
about the
to
difference.
talk to do that.
Yeah,
We
we
need to
were
create
talking
privacy.
a few weeks ago about the differences in Bitcoin and the other blockchains, and that's one of the biggest thing, because the BTC blockchain was done to be totally free and tolerant to governments, to every pressure that comes around, but not the other blockchains. And that's one of the biggest differences, because other blockchains are not they can break. They have breaking points. They have companies, they have organizations, they have someone in charge that can break the system. So even Ethereum blockchain is totally breakable people apply the right pressures. So it is what it is. You can make a smart contract to control every other contract in the blockchain
But
if you
it's
just want to.
I see things in the other way around. It's not our first way to prevent or minimize that approach of reducing privacy on chain and misuse of this technology to do bad things to people. First of all, is to not work for those guys.
You cannot stop that.
I know, but if we don't do bad projects, it's the first thing, because there's only a very little amount of people that understand and really know this technology, right? There's a lot of very rookie Web3 developers around, but people that really understand and really know what they're doing, it's a very small subset. So we can delay projects that are bad in this with this approach, but it will eventually happen, and use that time to build privacy tools. That's why I think projects like Tornado Cash are very important to be developed. Um, Really trustless projects like Torchain. It's very important to have to be able to transact, exchange tokens in different chains in a trustless way, like Torchain implements, is very important. And other projects like that. We need to use this time that we have ahead of the powers that be that want to control the entire blockchain industry to develop the good things, so that when they reach critical mass, the good things are in place and they are immutable and impossible to stop. So if those projects require being implemented in a similar way that Bitcoin did, by a group of people that no one knows who they are, they should. Because
Yeah.
the guys that implemented Tornado Cash, they were arrested. They spent months and months arrested. Some of them are still arrested, I think. I'm not sure. And that's a very, very annoying thing, because developers are being arrested for creating tools that give everyone the privacy they should have in the first place.
Yeah.
This is nonsense, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the excuse is always like terrorism. It's drug and arms dealing. It's always the same.
it's
Fear
always
mongering.
the same BS, and
Yeah.
it's nothing like that. They just want to tax you, and if they just want to tax the hell out of you,
It's not only
if you leave
taxes.
them.
No, no. Well, I
No,
think you
it's
are wrong. It's not only taxes.
no.
It's controlling,
I'm
and
not.
it's the same thing as communism, right? As long as everybody thinks the same way, people are easier to control.
Yeah.
So that's why the whole uniformization of thought within Europe and the Western
But
world that you
when I
have,
talk,
it's the same thing, because now
but I
people
was
are much
referring,
easier to control.
but I was referring to the AML and know your customer rules. That is only to tax you. They don't
Yeah,
really care
right.
about where the money goes, as long as you pay taxes.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Right?
exactly, right.
If it goes to terrorists, they finance the terrorists themselves. So what's the point of anti-terrorist
They want the
stuff?
monopoly of financing
CIA,
terrorism.
CIA financed the Al Qaeda guys for years,
Okay, we
right?
cannot say this.
So
We are going to be cancelled. before we
W-
start.
We will be cancelled,
Because
man.
keep in mind that we already have
No, no,
one
I
viewer or
was
something
joking.
like
It
that.
was a joke. It was a joke. Of course, we cannot
It's
prove
not a
that.
joke. We only have one people watching, so but we can be cancelled in
But this
any
will
way.
be live for eternity. And anyone that
Yeah, I know,
joins
I
this
know.
channel will be marked as a public enemy and will have their accounts frozen.
Yeah, there is another use case that I would like to talk about, which I think it's very important, which is the supply chain. And I heard some projects like a few years ago that were doing a blockchain project that for pharmaceutical companies that they want to keep track of all indicators like um, temperature, humidity, and stuff like that when they were transporting their medication. Because if something goes off um, some threshold, they want to mark that batch as a bad one, and they want to remove it from the market. This is very important. And being in a blockchain, this is very important.
Yeah.
And this is a very nice use case for that. Another one I would see in food transport. I think the same thing could be applied. Right, if
Yeah,
you are
it's another kind of
transporting meat and the
yeah,
meat is
it's
at
another kind
40
of supply
degrees
chain.
for a few hours,
Yeah.
it should be
Packaging,
as bad.
shipping, everything. There's that's why I said in the beginning, blockchain and Web3 and smart contracts will lead the world. Everything, every middleman can be removed with this technology, and everything can be turned peer to peer. And this is our opportunity to create a better world with this technology. Please don't fuck it up.
No, there are a lot of projects fucking it up for sure.
Yeah, I know. That's
I know
that's
that.
that's why we need to talk about this and ask the developer community to don't fuck this up, guys. Create immutable shit.
Yeah,
Create
and
create stuff that uh, just works
yeah,
and
that
remains working for eternity. That's the
yeah
beauty
that
of
that
this.
thing yeah that thing leads me to another issue, which is the security of smart contracts, because people make contracts upgradable mainly because something bad can happen to the contract and that you didn't foresee while you
Mhm.
were developing. And it's a very um, it seems quite reasonable to think like that, because as you are used to code, bugs just pop up that you were not expecting, and it's like normal practice to just update the software. So the same techniques are being applied here, but this is not the same thing, right?
No, and it really annoys me. It creates, I don't know. I just turn very annoyed by watching people that uh, they start implementing a smart contract, and the first thing they do is import Open Zeppelin ownable
Upgradable.
and upgradable contracts. But not even just upgradable. Uh, Import ownable, and the first thing that the contract is ownable. What does this mean, guys? Tune in, tune in to me right now. Blockchain is supposed to be trustless, right? By having a contract that has an owner, it's a level of trust immediately. And we should be developing contracts in a trustless way the more we can. I know that there are use cases for the owner.
Yeah, of
There are,
course. There are special case functions that
the
only
problem
some people can
the
do.
the problem with these patterns is that they are becoming the norm.
Yeah,
They are not.
there's something there, because if you
Yeah,
start the contract by being ownable, you will develop the rest of the contract knowing that. And
there is an owner that
even
has
if you
special
could turn
powers.
that around, yeah, but even if you can, you could think of some way of turning that around and just make the smart contract in some other way that didn't need to be ownable. You won't, because you already started as ownable.
Yeah,
The same thing as with upgradable. People will slack on the tests because, well, if something goes wrong, I will fix it.
yeah. And smart contracts should be a very serious thing to develop. It's on the same level as developing code for rockets or for the space industry or whatever. 100% coverage of all lines of code is a must, is not optional.
It's not enough.
Yeah, it's not optional. We need to test the hell out of it. And still, exploits might happen in the future because they weren't discovered yet. So this is the thing. We need to be extra careful with this contract as a norm, not create other things to allow us to be failing in the process. And that's where the beauty of this is. It's by being responsible and understanding uh, our very important role in this. When we are developers of smart contracts, we should be developing immutable shit, not just another programming app, right? Apps are mutable. We already have that shit,
Yeah, but apps are
right?
not critical. And
Yeah, that's the thing I say. We already have that. We wouldn't need smart contracts if they weren't different, right? If it's more of the
Yep,
same shit, we already have that, and that's good. It's much better than smart contracts,
yep,
right? Developing an app is much faster than developing a smart contract. Uh, and it should, because the level of criticality is completely different. Let's not confuse the things. A smart contract is difficult shit to build.
yeah,
Should be, right? And we should do all the testing and have the right uh, um, security mindset behind the development of smart contracts, not just having any developer developing it and forgetting to test shit and
yeah.
uh,
Normal developers don't test.
yeah. So
That's one
um,
thing. The people usually don't make tests.
yeah,
What would you say that are best practices for smart contract development?
TDD is the list. I wouldn't expect anything less, right? First
What's
develop the
that?
tests. First develop the tests, and then make the contract comply with the tests. And done right, you will have most of the problems or the possible problems taken care of. And the use of platforms like Foundry, for instance, which has a lot of testing and fuzz tests and all that included, is a very handy thing. So if you if you want to do fuzz testing on functions, like for instance, if you expect that a value would be greater than something, and it can, in fuzz testing, it will discover that. and you don't have to supply all the values to understand that there is something that is failing. So that's the beauty of it. And the way we start developing tests more and more and more, we will get used and we will get comfortable that we are producing code that is reliable, right? And we will start thinking that maybe not having upgradable contracts is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Because when we release the code, we are pretty sure that it's okay. And if we do the proper measures to safeguard a possible exploit discovered in the future, we will be good. Of course, money might be lost in the process, but that's the good thing of this. Um, we cannot, if we do proper testing, we cannot predict that some exploit will be discovered in a Solidity version or something like that. But if that happens, it happened for a reason. Money got lost, but we won something. If we develop only upgradable contracts and we put at stake trustless, immutability, censorship resistant, everything that we earned by this blockchain um, thing, we lose already before we
Yeah,
started.
yeah. There's something that I want to bring up before we jump to the next logical point of the discussion, which are the oracles. Oracles are something that are not part of the blockchain, but some smart contracts may require oracles.
You
An
mean
oracle is
the matrix oracle?
yes.
Okay.
No, the other oracles. So the thing is that some smart contracts will require some information from the world, and they will have oracles to do that. Do you want to explore just that really quickly before we jump to?
Yeah. Oracles are a very interesting thing because the way blockchain works is it's in a silo, right? Usually, your nodes participate in that network, but they are not receiving information from anywhere else. It's just that information that is controlled in that network. And that is a limitation because we are used to have applications that are connected all the time. So they have access to all the information that is available on the internet. And for security reasons, blockchains are not connected to the internet.
Yeah,
Thanks
but
God.
that also goes for predictability and
The gods,
and
the
data
gods
stuff.
of the gods of blockchain don't allow that shit to happen,
Yeah,
and
I
that's a
think one
good
of the
thing.
most important issues there is that if all the nodes could have access to the external world, they would reach to different conclusions, and
Yeah,
there would not be um,
I think there are gods of
how do you
blockchain.
call it? You would not reach. I'm missing the word right now.
Finality in the same
Not all the nodes would reach the same result.
yeah.
So that's why they are really isolated, and not even the random number
It's
generated.
it's the different
It's very limited because of that.
difference between a pure function in the function that has side effects. If you have side effects, you will always be in a position where passing the same arguments to the same function to that function, it will return
Would deliver
different results.
different results. Yeah.
And that's one thing that cannot happen on chain because it will invalidate the consensus mechanism,
Yeah, all
right?
nodes will have to agree on the same result.
Yeah. So
Okay, so let's yeah, this was just to touch this subject. I want to go to the upgradability of
yeah.
smart contracts that we were
Mhm.
talking before, and why not?
I think that upgradability it's not a bad thing. It's not that there are not good use cases for that.
Let me touch the subject that I want to drive you in, because at the beginning of this conversation we were talking about smart contracts that are really good because you are signing a contract that should be uh, the same, valid just the same when you sign
Mhm.
it until the end of the agreement that you are proposing to.
I have a question for
So
our
this is not true. This is not true.
I have a
If
question
you
for our
upgrade it,
audience. If you love upgradable smart contracts, let's do a business. Me and you there. Uh, you are going to sell me your house. I will do a contract. Uh, we will sign it. You will sign it. I will sign it. And the last page is a part of the of the contract. And the entire contract that we sign will change tomorrow. And we will keep the last page where your signature is. Would you agree with that? You. Yes. You there. Do you want to sell me
yeah,
your house?
either that, or you rent my house, and I can upgrade my contract whenever I want. We
We are
set up the
talking
price.
about,
You sign it. We set
yeah,
up the price. We both of us sign it, and then I can upgrade the contract to
yeah.
set the price that I
We are
want.
talking about
So
contracts. It's not applications. It should be something of value, right? Upgradable contracts. It's a subversion of this shit, man. Can't you see it?
no, the only way that this could be valid is that when I upgrade it, both parties would have to sign the contract again. So just
And
imagining,
that,
just
and that,
imagining.
it, and
Yeah,
that means a new
yeah, it's
smart
valid.
contract
Yes,
with a new signature,
yes, and
right?
it's valid for the lifespan of the agreement. So
Yeah.
that would be the only way that this could be valid, because you would have to agree once again to the new rules of the contract, and
Yeah.
everybody would be happy. But that's not what happens, and I can just unilaterally upgrade my contract. And yeah, if it's bad for you, tough luck.
Yeah, that's a very risky thing, and I don't. I'm not a maximalist, and I don't think that there is only one solution. It's only immutable, trustless codes.
No,
There are
there are
there are
levels, of course. There are
levels,
levels of criticality in the
but
of what we are talking about. But
what
we are
worries
talking
me
about
is the
smart contracts
norm.
that really take a lot of money, and that they can just
What
be
worries
upgraded.
me is the norm, and also is the users that don't know what they're signing. Uh, those are the ones that lose money, right?
Yeah,
Because they think that something is safe, and then it's a rug pull because they just upgrade the contract and they take all the money out because they implement a new function that drains it. Or someone, if they cannot, they didn't want to do it, the owners of the contract, some exploiter can do it, right?
yeah,
Because people make silly things and people lose keys all the time. And if they lose the keys of the contract that they own, where your money is, you will lose your money, right? And if there was no owner in the first place or no upgradability, that wouldn't be possible at all. So we have to understand this. The norm should be everything is trustless, immutable, censorship resistant, and so on. And sometimes when no criticality is needed, we might have upgradable shit, right?
Yeah.
That's a better way to think about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Okay. So
So
one last thing before we move to the end, which there's something that I would like to talk about is the interoperability
mhm.
between blockchains. So you have smart contracts talking to each other within the blockchain. You can call functions from other smart contracts. They are quite
We
interoperable.
have right now in this state of the art, we have several options there. We have the traditional way, which is the Cosmos interoperability layer, or Polkadot as something in IBC as well. So those are the dinosaurs of interoperability. Uh, then right now, a few months ago, Chainlink launched an interoperable protocol as well, which is being very um, uh, fancy by the banking system and all the DeFi or TradFi operations, and I think it makes sense. Uh, and then there is another thing which probably most of the people don't know, and it's one of the more fantastic projects. I already talked about it before. It's Torchain. Um, I learned about it because I am a very big fan of
The Tor
Eric
project.
Voorhees. What?
The Tor project.
No, Eric Voorhees is the creator of Shapeshift. Is a very nice guy and um, um, libertarian kind of guy, which I resonate a lot with. And but he's not just extremist. He's very, um, a very interesting guy. If you don't know him, just search for him. He's someone very special. And Shapeshift was a very special project since the beginning. It was one way for you to exchange tokens in one chain and receive them in the other chain. It was implemented at first with um, the kind of bridges style, or not bridges. It was in a trustless way, but there was a little bit of friction between what happened in one chain and the other chain, and so on. And there was a centralized entity, Shapeshift, the company, that don't exist anymore. They shut down in favor of a DAO. It was one of the first real exchanges to become a DAO, and the guy stepped down from CEO, and is contributing to the DAO as any other people contributing today, which is really cool. And uh, and then they also got involved in the idea of Torchain, which is trustless um, interoperability between different chains, completely trustless. Uh, so if you don't know this project, learn about it. It will be something of um good value for the values of blockchain and crypto for humanity.
Yeah.
I really think that it's projects like this that make the difference, and I would like to see more of this. I would like to see more people fighting the good war, which is creating more freedom to everybody,
Yeah,
not the
that
other
is a
way
great
around.
that is a great segue for our last topic, which is the how do you see the future of smart contracts, and let's speculate a little bit of what it can become, like regarding of the implementation of smart contracts, tools, AI, whatever.
Well, um, we are just scratching the surface right now.
Yeah, this is a
Uh,
baby technology.
this is just the beginning of this entire thing. Uh, I repeat myself again. I think everything that matters in this world will be blockchain based in the very near future, and even AI will take care of that. If we don't, the AI will do it for us. And I really think that we really need this technology because of the use of the technology in our day-to-day lives. We will need to have assurance that things really happen, that what we want is taken care of. And we've seen a lot of failures in the traditional, in Web 3, Web 2 worlds, and Web 1 worlds, and traditional finance, and everything. Everything that is done by humans, it's supposed to fail sooner rather than later. And because we are limited. And now that we have AI, and AI can bring scale to our creations, um, I really think that it's inevitable to have a layer of trust or guarantee below the mass scale for technology that we will have in the near future. And people that think that AI is just some chat GPT shit that appeared today and it doesn't make any sense and so on. Guys, you will be jobless tomorrow. I'm sorry. If you still think like that today, just grab your UBI because you will need it. You will be jobless. Everyone will be jobless tomorrow, and it's better to understand that. Uh, we need to start mm, being responsible for our own things. Start being creative because that's something that AI cannot do better than us. Uh, and that's where our real power is in creativity and in um, the the abstraction of the pure data that humans are
Yeah,
aware and
people
AI is not
confuse.
aware. Yeah.
Yeah, people confuse a little bit what creativity is. Creativity is creating something, and creativity is not remembering
Yeah.
something, which is what AI can come up with. AI cannot come up with something that already exists or based in something that already exists. So we cannot just create
It can
anything.
create
The
things in a
issue
limited
there
way.
is that
Yeah.
very, very, very few people are able to be creative. So
Just
let's see
grab
where this goes.
just just grab their UBIs because they will need it. And I think that if people are not creative, they will be able to do other things and still make a living with some UBI protocol implemented on blockchain that they will sign for, and they will get their income, uh, and they will sit at home and feed their dog and pay their taxes and die. That's the usual thing that humans do. Humans that are a little bit more than that, they usually have nicer jobs, nicer houses, more dogs, pay their taxes, and die anyway. And
It's
people
the only certain things, taxes and debt.
and really cool people that are very very smart, and they just do very cool shit and hardworking and so on, are the ones that thrive. And this will only accelerate that. But it might represent, if we do it properly, it might represent that people that don't fall in the last category can actually have a living, and not not just pay taxes and die, and spend their entire lives doing a job they hate. Maybe
Yeah,
they can just don't do a job and they
there is
still have a
another
living, right?
thing that I would like to touch before we close, is that it's not only AI that kind of scares me here. It's also the blockchain itself, and the blockchain itself, as we've been saying since episode 0, it can be a good thing and can be a really bad thing. And the control system that can be imposed by using blockchain technology is a lot scarier than anything that has been around
Yeah.
since now until now. So when I see things going in a weird way, because they are just implementing what their companies want, and they want to implement it the old-fashioned way, and they are bringing traditional finance or traditional business to the current Web3 technology. They are just bringing new capabilities of doing the bad stuff that they are used to do in the old world. So it can go either really good or really bad.
Yeah.
Well,
All
it
technology,
actually can both. It actually can go really good and really bad at the same time. But
yeah, all technology is like that. We just need to try to do more of the good and less of the bad, and hope for the best.
yeah,
That's the only thing we can do, and that's why I think that we have a very big responsibility, because we are like the pioneers of this technology still.
yeah,
Uh, we are like dinosaurs already of this technology, but we are still pioneers. This is cool, right? So we really need to understand our role in this process and try to do more of the good things. And I really think, as a wrap up, more of the good things is do proper code, avoid security flaws, do proper testing, create stuff that is immutable, that is secure, that is trustless, that is censorship resistant. Don't create companies. Companies are worthless in this space. Create protocols and create companies for the front ends. Immutable protocols without any traditional uh, corporation behind them are the ones that will change the world for better.
yeah. Those are
And
the
if you
ones
have
that
to
cannot be
remain
tampered with.
anonymous, if you have to remain anonymous, do it,
Yeah,
because our world needs you. If you have to be
Yeah, well,
anonymous,
and it's better for you if you are anonymous.
and the only thing that matters to me in this space, I love this technology. I'm working in this space for full time for years. Uh, but the only thing that matters to me is that I will leave for my kids a better world than I got from my parents.
Yeah, that's our point. That's our mission here.
It's the only thing that matters. And if we just do shit to get money out of it, not being aware of our mission in this
Yeah,
space,
well, if you don't know your mission in this world, at least that one is a part of your mission, to leave this world
yeah.
in a better shape than it was when you got it.
So I think this is the last point of this conversation. Smart contracts
Yeah.
serve this purpose, and we should all do our best to
Well,
achieve
at
this
least it's
goal.
a great tool to do so. So
Yeah.
yeah, so guys, it was a real pleasure having this conversation. If you really enjoyed this conversation, click that like button and subscribe if you want to be notified for further videos. Do you want to say some last words?
Yeah. Leave your ideas. Participate in our social medias. We have a Telegram channel. We have a Twitter account. Just tweet at us. Send your comments below. We are not just in live streams. We are creating content every day, mostly. Just check our Web3 development videos. We are sharing a lot of great things all the time. And yeah, thanks for joining us in our mission to decentralize the world wisely. And we will see you in the next episode.
See you
Cheers.
next time.
Bye bye.